Hey, sixth grade, this is your lesson for the day. If you look at your work plan, I'm going to keep referencing this on the videos. Sixth grade, it doesn't look like you have a lesson here, right? Well, I wanted to notate too that on Schoology I posted a ladies lesson on long division and blocks just to support those who need it. Please go watch that video and take notes if you need to, if you need that support and you know who you are. Also, this is I wrote into mind for y'all to check Schoology today for the lesson on ratio and proportion. Ratio and proportion follow-up. Basically, it's part given whole. Oh, you can't see that. Part given whole and whole given the part. And so we're going to practice that today on the lesson and go from there. Now, also don't forget science as well too. But that starts on Thursday, okay? All I'm saying is today, since it's Wednesday, you can start on this lesson that I'm going to post on Schoology today after you take your science test. Okay? Alright. That's 1 minute down, apparently. Alright, so open your math journal up to the next available page. I do that for my reference so I know what journal I'm in. You don't have to put that. And today we are going to do the lesson. What did I call it again? Ratio and oh gosh, I can't spell. Is it proportion? It's proportion. Okay, proportion. Weird word. Whatever. That's fine. Okay, ratio and proportion. Yay, we're back. Okay, so ratio and proportion. So, what is a ratio? That's a rational number. We talked about that earlier. Ratio. We can look at rational number. And a rational number would be anything that can be shown as a fraction or a part of something. It could be a decimal point 35. It could be, these are examples. It can be a fraction. I'll just put that to separate. That's not a J, that's a semicolon, sorry. 1/2. You could even have a rational number be just 2, because that's the same thing as saying 2 over 1. Okay? And that is where we get into a ratio. A ratio is like part over whole. Okay, that's a ratio. Another ratio would be like 2 to 1, which is the same thing as 2 over 1. Okay, so those are ratios. Also, don't forget, inside of a rational number is the word ratio. That's where it comes from. And proportion, a proportion is a part of something, right? And proportions, they compare different amounts to each other. In this case, we're going to be comparing a percent to the ratio, which would be a part to a whole. And so, a way to find the percent of something, yes, you can do the division, but also there's a part to whole ratio that you can use. So, let's say I have a part and then I have a whole. Okay? The part I don't know. Okay? The whole I do know is 100. Seems familiar, right? Okay. And then if we have, we're going to relate this to a ratio that we do know, or a fraction that we do know, which would be something like 120 over 2,000. Okay, and again, this is a part stubby of information that can help us. Okay, and so we're solving a percent. We're just doing it a different way than we're used to by using a proportion relationship. And so we can find the multiplication factor. That's one way. Find multiplication. This is a fast way to do it. And what that's saying is I have a question mark over 100, and it's equal to 120 over 2,000. That's literally saying this, whenever I fill this question mark in, will be equal to the same thing as this. So we know that anything that's over 100 can be seen as a percent very quickly and very easily. And so this would be one way to do it, is finding the multiplication factor. How can I get 100 to turn into 2,000? Well, I have to multiply it by something. If I multiply it by 20, I'm going to get 2,000. Now, if I apply that same rate times 20, that's the relationship that I'm using, times 20. Because I want this to be equal, I have to do the same thing to the bottom as I do to the top. And so this times that gives me 120, right?
Oh, excuse me.
So what number times 20 gives me 120? Well, I mean, for the algebra-minded people, I can do that over here. I can say question mark times 20 is equal to 120. They don't want me to show you the algebra behind this, but I am, because you need to see this. So if I'm multiplying by 20 and I want to find out what that is, I can divide this by 20 and these cancel out. But if I do that to this side, I have to do that to this side. So then I go back to division. 120 divided by 20. And I know that 20 cannot go into 12. Okay, but I know that 20 can go into 120. I can also do it quickly by covering up the zeros. How many times does 2 go into 12? It goes into it 6 times. Right? 6 times. 6 times 20 is 120. Okay? Use your zeros, they're your friends. So what that's actually saying is the question mark is equal to 6, which would be 6 over 100 is equal to 120 over 2,000. And what is this as a percent? That is 6%. So 120 over 2,000 is equal to 6%. 6 over 100, if you write that as a percent, remember we changed that to a decimal. 6 over 100 would actually be written 6/100ths. Okay, which is 6%, which is 120 over 2,000. Okay, so we now know what the percent is. That 120 over 2,000 is 6%. Just a different way to do what we've already been doing. The other way was what? The original way that we've been learning was, okay, 120, I want to know what that is percent-wise, so I take 120 and I divide it by 2,000. That's the way we have been doing it. You need to see this because this translates into something else later on. So let's look at another idea. Move it you in my way. I'm gonna go to the next page real quick. We're at 10 minutes. But I want you to see this. Okay. So we're going to use a number line. We're going to use a number line. And that number line is going to look like this. Okay. And it starts at 0% on the top, and it ends at 100%. It's going to be the same thing we just did, just in the form of something physical that we can see. And so I'm going to need 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Well, I just messed up, didn't I? It's okay. I'm going to move 100% over here. You'll see now that I have a number line that goes 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. Oh, you're getting tired of me saying percent, right? Oh my gosh, camera, quit jacking around. Okay, we're back. Yay. And we know that 0% is 0. Okay? And so I want to know what is 80%. What is 80% of 300, right? Well, the ratio that they give me, I'll put comma, given that, how to write this? This ratio right here, 30 over 100. I have a ratio right here I can use. Okay, what is 30 over 100? 30 over 100, if I divide that out and I find out what percent that is, it's actually 10%, so I can put 30 right there. Okay, 30. Now then, what I want to know is, though, what is 80% of 300? That's what I want to know. So how can I increase this by 10% every time to get to 80? Well, if I know that 10% is 30%, is 30, well, I can do this on the number line very easily. Every 10% I add 30 to it. So 30 plus 30 is what? 60. Then 90. Then 120. Then 150. I gotta write this smaller now. Then what is that? 180. And then we got 210. Then 240. Plus another 30. That's going to be 2. Oh, we already got there, didn't we? 80% of 300. Sorry, I forgot to write that in. Because 100% is 300. 80% of 300 is 240. That's another way to look at it with a number line. Okay. And I think that's going to be it.